object oriented programming. So this is like one of the most important thing that comes under Python programming. So far, whatever we have discussed, that is like straightforward way. Like you can write 100 lines of code and you can do the, like, as long as you have the same environment, or maybe the same IDE, for example, Jupyter notebook, or maybe Spider, or maybe any kind of terminal. So as long as you are writing down the hundreds of lines of code in a same environment, or maybe in a same file, that all things usually gets run. But it looks a lot of messy, that you probably will not able to understand, or maybe not able to manage or access. So as long as we would like to manage something in a structuring, or maybe in a sequential way. So simple example could be that we have so many different stuff, for example utensils, or maybe clothes, or maybe our books. So we don't usually keep all the things in one wardrobe, or maybe in one of the rack. We usually separate it out in a different folders. Okay, so object oriented programming, as I'm giving you the simple example, is organizing our stuff in a sequential, or maybe in a structuring way, so that we can easily manage all the things wherever we need something from our like rack, or maybe from our utility. So we do know that, like, where exactly we can achieve that, or from where we can get that. So same goes with programming as well. Instead of writing hundred or thousands of lines of code directly one way go, we can structure it is basically in a different functions, or maybe in a different objects simply. And all the bundle things we can directly make use of it. So simple example could be like the libraries that we do have discussed, the pandas, or maybe the numpy library, or maybe any inbuilt list functions, or maybe Python functions specifically. So within like few lines of code, we can access the function and can able to perform the same things on a different stuff. For example, I have a to list. So for a different to list, instead of calculating the sum by just writing down the entire code, I can simply create the like some bundle for the same, and I can pass the like multiple list to that particular bundle, and still can able to access the information out of it. The reason is I do have structuredized in a proper way, and I have managed it in a proper way. So that is like simple definition of object oriented programming, that we wanted to access flow sequentially in order to complete the end to end task. uh, the same things that comes under the object oriented programming is the like some functions, some classes, or maybe inheritance, like some concept that comes. So let's just go with the one by one. For example, inbuilt functions. So we all know that Python inbuilt functions, for example print is like one of the inbuilt function, where we can pass anything, uh, and can still able to access the information. So this is nothing but the arguments that we have defined, or with the past inside the print inbuilt function, and we are requesting that particular function to give us some output. So that is like one of the example basically. Another examples could be inbuilt functions can be sum, or maybe calculating the maximum length, or maybe any functions that you are already aware of, all those inbuilt functions as a sum, or maybe absolute values, or maybe power, minimum, maximum, or maybe the type of different functions. Just simply if I define the like tuple, for example something like 1, 4, or maybe 3, and just wanted to see the type of that particular tuple value. So that is like again another inbuilt function in a Python, that where we are just passing one of the argument, and we are requesting that function to give us the output out, or we generate the like some sort of output out of it. So as long as we can able to use inbuilt function that is already comes under inbuilt Python functions, or maybe that comes under the library. For example, the library example that we already have discussed. For example, the pandas library. So import pandas as a PDF. So that is like one library, and whenever we create like some data frame, for example, I just wanted to create like some pandas series, for example. So I'll define something like that, series PD series, and then I can pass like any list over there, and can print that series to see. what is being generated. So that is like one way of like either we can go with the inbuilt function. So that is these are like two examples of inbuilt function, or maybe we can load a library and can call the uh, function, that inbuilt function we will say in another terminology, that is being created for the particular pandas library. So not all the things are openly available, so as we can see, so sometimes there is like one problem statement and we would like to go for that particular problem statement with our own custom ideas. So Python should have a capability of creating or maybe the generating some functions of our own wherever we have the, like some unique ideas or logic in our mind. So for example, average is like one of the function that doesn't come as an inbuilt Python function, but basically the sum or something you can do. For example, list is like some random list of numbers, something like this. And if I would like to do the summation of this particular list, so I can simply do that with the inbuilt function. But if I wanted to do the average, for example, avg of lst, so we will not be able to perform that because like this average, or maybe there is no such a function that can give us the average or maybe the mean value of this particular list. So we do know the formula of average. So average formula is something like we can basically create a, or maybe the calculate the summation and then number of objects that we do have in a particular list. So for example, if we wanted to see how many items that we have inside that list, it's something like this. And if we would like to calculate the average, we can do something like that, sum lst divided by length of lst. So that is like custom idea that we have in our mind. And wherever we have the multiple lists that is coming up, for example lst 2 and like some another list where we have different number. So every time writing this sum lst2 divided by length lst2 is not the feasible way. What if I have very lengthy idea in my mind and I just wanted to use that, like for example summation lst then length then multiply with something then addition then subtraction, so many n number of different things, and just create the like one final mathematical formula for the same. So that is not the appropriate way for every list repeating this lst. For example, over here I have repeated lst, one of the Python variable, two times. If I have a formula where lst argument is required probably around 20 times, so as I say, it's not the feasible idea to write a number of lines of codes or maybe the number of things. So another way for operating such a kind of situation is we can go with user defined functions. So these are the inbuilt functions, these are the library functions, and another terminology that comes under the Python or maybe in any other programming language, we call it as a user defined function. So we can simply go with creating the user defined function. So the formula or maybe the syntax that comes as a def for the uh, like function that we are going to, and any name. For example, I just wanted to give the average as a name, so you can give any name. It's not like any fixed format that average, or maybe you can give any choice of your name. And then what exactly you basically want to do is this summation of a particular list. And then so this is something that you probably wanted to define in some function, one of the variable, and then return the same value as a same. But over here you must pass the argument, so that is something that you are throughoutly gonna work out. As I say, lst is a list argument that I use two times. If there is like one mathematical formula where I have to use this lst function 20 times, so this is nothing but the argument that is being used in each and every function. So it's not always strict way that you can always inside your user defined function you must define inbuilt function. You can do anything, for example simple mathematical formulation that to multiply by this functionality, or maybe anything that you can define over here and create a function. But only thing is that the lst is something Python will give an error that lst is not defined, or maybe something like that. But right now you will not able to sorry, you are not going to get the any error because lst is being defined somewhere else. But let's see, for example average. So it will give. But if I have lst2 and for the lst2 I wanted to calculate the average, so that is something I am not able to do. because LST is hard coded over here. So hard coded means that particular value is already being defined over here and you are not able to change that, or maybe just like some function you are not able to use as it is. So you can simply pass this argument as over here, and the same argument name that you have to use throughout your calculation that is that is specifically you are performing inside that particular user defined function. And then over here, for example, LST, average of LST is something like that. If average of LST2 is, that will come as, if you define a custom list over here, something like that, 6 comma 5. So that is also can able to give you, as long as you are providing list as an argument, you can always able to get. For example, if you provide something like this will not, this will definitely gonna give an error. You can see simple error is takes one positional argument but three were given. So wherever you have something defined as a comma separated, it always, Python always consider it as a different arguments for a specifically that particular function. But we are requesting in our custom function one simple argument, and that same argument we are using inside that. But if we are passing 6 comma 3 comma 2, we will definitely not gonna get any output out of it. So we must pass our argument as a basically the list in a list format. So you can define list somewhere else, or maybe you can directly pass that list over here. So basically user defined function always works as an inbuilt Python function. Only thing is that whatever the logic we do have in our mind, if that particular logic is not present in any of the user defined functions or maybe any of the library, you can go and create your own functions. And inside that particular own function, only thing you need to take care of about is the arguments that you are being specifically passing through that particular over here. If you pass something argument as a lst1, and if you run this particular cell, this will still give an error. If you pass lst2 or maybe lst, you can see that like 6 comma 3 comma 2, specifically the average of this three value is not 11.3. If you pass something lst2, this will not gonna give an any kind of error, but it will give the like same value as a result. So, the reason is lst is the argument that you are not passing from here, but this might be already defined somewhere else, and the Python is always taking this value from over here, like this lst. So doesn't matter how many list you are specifically passing over there, you definitely are gonna get the like same answers all the time. So you must avoid this error that whatever the name or maybe the variable name that you are using over here, this should match with this one. Otherwise, you sometimes will get an error if that particular variable is not defined earlier, or maybe you will not gonna get any error if that particular variable is already defined. So that is something debugging that you should do. So whenever you create a function, always test with at least 2 to 3 variables. For example, I have tested with lst1, then I have tested with lst2, then I have tested with custom list passing over here, in order to see if my actual function is actually working or no, or maybe there is like some variable assignment issues or something like that. So this is how you can create. We just have discussed the like simple example. You can go and create the like multiple examples, whichever you like. For example, the multiplication or maybe addition of the numbers. For example, def addition of numbers, and then you can pass addition like two numbers specifically, because I just wanted to do the addition of two numbers over here. So I'm gonna pass x and y. Then you can print, or maybe you can simply return direct return function as the x plus y, and then x plus y, and then you can basically call this, and you must pass the two numbers, any two numbers. So for example, 7 comma 3, so you will get the answer if you pass 6 8 comma 6. So this is how you can basically define the addition of two numbers. Or maybe if you would like to do addition as well as multiplication of two numbers, as well as minus, like subtraction of two numbers in the same functions. So you will get output something like that in a tuple format. X plus y is 13, x this is 14, and this is x minus y, something like that. Or maybe you can define something like that: addition, comma, multiplication, comma, subtraction. And you can specifically see what is the addition, what is multiplication, and what is subtraction. So either way you can perform. So we already have learned about creating multiple variable names equal to extracting the values out of it. So you can simply define variable and return that particular variable's value, or maybe you can simply return directly over here instead of creating the value or maybe storing that value. For example, over here, instead of doing that, because you ultimately creating the another variable that is not even necessary. So this is also can work. That's the right way. But if you would like to do something like that, addition, sorry, average equal to this value, and then you would like to multiply average with this particular value. So this is also something is gonna work. Or maybe you can create another variable and do multiple stuff, whatever you would like to do. So either way, as long as you are using the return function, it should not be always the case that you can only return a specific variable name that you have defined. On that particular variable name, you can perform whatever the operation you would like to perform. So that will work as it is. So you can see the one example over, another example over here. Or maybe in a return function, you can actually return whatever the values or maybe how many values you specifically want. I just wanted to return three different things, I can. Or maybe n different things, I can still able to return that. Over here, for example, I just wanted to return average as well as average 2. So this will come as a average multiplied by 2 value is this one, and average, simple average is like this one. So as I say, it's not any restriction that you can return only any single value. You can return anything whichever you would like to return. So these are two different examples. So you can create as many as functions you can. Creating the function is a very simple. It's not very complicated. Only thing you need to remember is this one: create a function with def, assign any name of your choice, then pass arguments. That is something that you are going to use throughout over here, and return something. But if instead of directly starting writing a function, probably can be complicated for you. So you can write, for example, I just wanted to do the addition of two numbers, for example x plus y, then addition of, for example, same numbers x plus x, then addition of again same number as a y only, so y plus y. So something like that I have in my mind, and I just wanted to convert that into the user defined function. So you can write something like this: return addition, comma, addition x, comma, addition y. So it's just easy way of writing out the function, or maybe converting in your entire code into the user defined function. For example, addition in x, comma, y, then this colon should be over here, and you can select all the lines and just press the tab. So this will automatically create the tab separated space over here. So this is also you can write. So most of the times people usually get confused about directly creating the basically the user defined function and testing it. So testing with user defined function can be complicated because you are not sure what kind of output is written coming out of it. For example, this is something that you wanted to see if actual addition is happening there or no. But simple one line of code you can simply able to test. For example, 3 plus 4, yeah, my addition is specifically working, something like that. Or maybe you just wanted to see the same addition is working or not, this is working and working or not, and then returning that into the so simple line of code initially you can start building, and all those codes again you have to convert into the user defined function. Directly converting into the user defined function can be hard for you to debug. So it's simple code, so it's easy to understand, but sometimes you might have to write down for example 20 lines of code by considering the if else conditions or maybe something like that. So that can be pretty complicated. For example, let me just pull out like one of the example. Probably like any questions that can help with the help of loop or maybe something like that. So just say, let me just see if I can have anything in my laptop. Okay, right now I don't have anything over here, but you can understand like simply basically you can add the multiple things inside that particular functionality, or maybe like simple example about like understanding the particular number is odd or maybe even, so something like that. So if condition is something that we usually use that particular number, if that particular number is modulo of 2 equal to 0, then we say print even, something like that. And like again, in the else condition, sorry, else is something you can simply write down and print or, so something like that. And you just wanted to basically check that x is something that you must have to define, for example 7. So this is like basically the odd, but all those functionality you just wanted to convert into the user defined function. Take or even or then the specific number as the argument, then select this entire code and press enter. But instead of writing down the print even, that is also will work, but you just have to return some values. So return even, something like this you can return. And over here you can specifically add, or sorry, and then you can simply use this check even or over here as a passing any number. So you can pass any number over here, for example 9, 8, or maybe 20s, whatever it is. Like just over here you have to add, not every time over change over here. So that is something function you can implement wherever you would like, or maybe inside the for loop, or maybe outside for loop, or maybe same user defined function again you can use in any other conditional statement that you have. For example, I just wanted to check if the if type of x is integer, and then only I wanted to use this check even odd, and then x, something like that function that I have written. If x we can write over here as the x is equal to, let's just print something over here to check if it is working or no. Then we can comment this out. So, okay, so check even the like particular number is even or no. So we should print this, then and then only this will work. Without printing this will not work. So odd is coming. So basically what I just wanted to say over here is you can basically use the inbuilt uh, sorry, you can simply use the like user defined function that you have created in anywhere. It's not like in your if else condition, or maybe in your for loop or something like that. Like if I have a for loop for I in, for example list of 7, 8, 9, something like that I'm running, and then just wanted to see that particular print statement over here using I. So it's like odd for this, even. So you can use anywhere, wherever you want, or maybe you can create the another user defined function and can use the like same this particular function inside that particular function, just like how the nested loops or maybe the nested if else condition works. So similar, or maybe the nested list. Similarly, you can use this particular function inside the another function, something like that. Like check the data types and then even an odd number, something like that function name you can create, and then simply pass the values that will return the output, or maybe you will get output out of it.